Good morning, dear students. Dear student, as you all are familiar that we are doing our chapter 4, which is factor of production. In this chapter, we have already done production mechanism, then factor of production, after that land, then destruction of ecosystem. Okay, dear student, you can find all these video in my YouTube channel. Okay, you can easily find the video on these topics in the description box or also in my YouTube channel. Now today we are doing labor. Okay, we will do this particular session about labor. What is the meaning of labor, what are the characteristics of labor, and what is the efficiency of labor. After that, what is the division of labor. Okay, dear student, so let us begin with our today's topic, which is about labor. Dear student, as we all are familiar that in factor of production we have land, we have capital, we have labor, we have entrepreneur. Okay, dear student, you all are familiar with the topic about land. You all are familiar with what is land and what are its role in factor of production. Today we will discuss about labor. Dear student, labor is one of the most important factor of production. Without this you cannot do your production activity. Whether you have land, you have capital, you have something else, you have raw material, but without this factor of production, labor, you cannot produce anything. So this is one of the major factor of production. Okay, dear student, in terms of if you in a layman term or if an ordinary language, we know that labor stand for work done by manual worker. Okay, those who work with their hands, it is simply known as labor. Okay, but in economics, dear student, we use the term labor in a wider sense. In a wider sense, labor include all human efforts done with a view to earn income. So always keep in mind there is some money worth, there is some money included. So whatever activity is done by any individual, any human being, okay, with any human efforts to earn money or income, it's simply considered as labor. Now human work may be physical, like that of a labor, example agriculture labor, building worker, etc., or mental, like that of the principal of your school, like teachers. Okay, it is worth mentioning here that only physical or mental work will be treated as labor, which is undertaken to earn income and reward. So you have to keep in mind that the physical and the mental work, okay, which is done by any individual or human being to earn income or reward, it is simply known as labor. Okay, dear student, now work done simply to attain pleasure or happiness is not labor. So keep in mind. Okay, for example, if a person sings a song for his own entertainment or pleasure, it cannot be called labor. But if he sings in a theater to earn his livelihood, okay, his livelihood, then his action would be considered as labor. So be careful that if a person do anything for his happiness, his pleasure, it's simply known as the procedure of it's simply known as the part of his entertainment. But if he do something for entertainment and happiness, and with this thing he earn something for his livelihood, it is simply known as labor, like a singer, like a stage performer. Okay, dear student, so we can say that labor consists of all human efforts of body or of mind which are undertaken in expectation of reward. So this is the definition of labor, that labor consists of all human efforts, whether it is of body, whether it is of mind. Like a factory worker, he do work with the help of his body potential. Like a principal, a teacher, he do work for with his mind. Okay, that's why body and mind, okay, which are undertaken in expectation of reward. Now the essence of labor, what are the essence of labor? Okay, yeah, what are the essential of labor to become labor? First, only human efforts is labor. Okay, only human efforts. Second, labor may be both physical and mental. Third, labor is undertaken in the expectation of rewards. So these are the three main important points which we have to keep in mind while we are discussing about labor. Okay, dear student, now move to our next point, Then our next point is, what is the characteristics of labor? Now we will discuss about the characteristics of labor. Okay, dear student. Now labor has some special characteristics which are not found in other factor of production. They are following. The first one is, labor is perishable. Perishable in the sense that if a worker does not work on a particular day, his labor for that day is wasted. Okay, labor is thus perishable. It means if a worker does not work for a particular day, suppose today he is on leave or he is not doing any work, then it simply means his labor, whatever work he's done, whatever work he done in his factory, in his office, it is totally wastage. Okay, now that's why it is also considered as a perishable. So labor cannot be stored. Okay, the labor has to sell his labor immediately in respective of the price paid to him. Whenever the any price or wages paid to him, he have to serve according to that price or that work, and we cannot store his work. Okay, so that's why labor cannot be stored. It is because of this feature that labor has a weak bargaining power, dear student. Next is, labor is an active factor of production. Land and capital are passive factor, but labor is an active factor of production. Without labor, other factor of production like land and capital cannot produce anything, which I told you in starting of this video, that labor is a living organism and hence it required sympathetic treatment, not like other factor of production. And without labor we cannot produce anything. While we have capital, we have land, but without labor we cannot produce anything. Next is, labor cannot be separated from laborer. Okay, now land and capital can be separate from their owners. You can separate land and capital from their owners, but labor cannot be separated from a laborer. Okay, labor and laborer are inseparable from each other. The laborer will have to present himself at a place where work is going on. So you cannot separate labor. That's why labor cannot be separated from labor. Next is, laborer sells his labor, not himself. This is important point. The laborer does not sell himself, he sell his labor only. A laborer may or may not agree to do work, he remain quite independent while working his track. So that's why you can sell land, you can sell raw material, okay, you can sell capital, but a labor cannot be, he cannot be owned. You can only buy his services only. Okay, that's why labor sells his labor only. Okay, dear student. Next is, labor is mobile. Labor is mobile simply means labor alone is a factor which is mobile. It means it can move from one place to another and also from one occupation to another. Okay, other factor of production such as land and capital are immovable generally. Okay, land is particularly not movable, you cannot move land. Okay, capital although you can move, but land you cannot move. If you talk about labor, labor is movable. As you can see that during summer season all the labor working in factories, they move towards their villages for agriculture work, and after that they again return to the factories and they do work. It simply means labor is a movable. Next is, labor differs in efficiency. All labors are not equally efficient. Some labors are more efficient due to their ability, training and skill, whereas other are less efficient on account of their literacy and ignorance. That's why labor differ in efficiency. Next point is, labor can improve his efficiency. Yes, dear student, it is one of the most important point. By investing capital on workers education, his training, his skills, we can improve his efficiency, his productivity. That's why we can say that labor can be improve his efficiency. Next one is, inelastic supply of labor. Dear student, this is our last point that we have to write 7, 6, 7, 8 point, and this is our last point. Inelastic supply of labor. The supply of labor is inelastic in a country at a particular time. It means its supply can neither be measured or decreases. It simply means neither you can increase or decrease. It is already presented in your cities, in your countries. For example, if a country has a scarcity of a particular type of workers, okay, its supply cannot be increased within a day, month or year. The supply of labor depend upon the size of population. What is the size of your population? How much people are educated, how much are not educated, who are skilled, who are not skilled. So the supply of labor is depend upon the population. That's why population cannot be increased or decreased quickly. Okay, children take time to become worker or labor. Okay, suppose you are studying in your class 10th, you are studying in class your 9th, 10th, 11th, so you must need time. Okay, you must need time for 5, 6, 10 years time to become a worker. A worker means to become a part of the working population. Okay, so it needs a time, not in a single day, in 1 to 3 days. Okay, dear student, now we will move to our next topic, which is, dear student, keep in mind that difference between land and labor, this is not in your topic. Importance of labor, this is not the part of your syllabus. Okay, and also keep in mind that this particular classification is also not part of your syllabus. Now we will move to our next point, which is efficiency, dear student. If you talk about efficiency of labor, then meaning of efficiency of labor is, by efficiency of labor we mean productive capacity of a worker, that how much productive is the worker, is how much capacity he have as a labor. Okay, it indicates the capacity of a labor to do more work or better work, okay, or both during a given time period. Other thing remain same, it means the other thing remain constant, there is no change in other factors. If a worker produces more than other workers will, then the other workers, he will be called more efficient. Okay, it's totally depend upon the worker to worker. Suppose if someone is producing more goods and if someone is producing less good, then the one who is producing more goods is simply known as more efficient as compared to the one who is not producing the good. Okay, thus the efficiency of labor has the following aspects. So keep in mind while you measuring the efficiency, the first one is the quality of output produced by a worker. Okay, the qualitative, if you talk about the quantity, then the quantity and quality both. Suppose a worker is producing 100 output, okay, and 100, all the 100 are very good in quality, it simply means we have to measure its quantitative as well as quality of the product. Okay, quantitative output, how much output he is producing, and what is the quality of the product. So quantity and quality both will be keep in mind. Next is time taken by a worker to produce that product. Now how much time he is taking to produce that product. Suppose if a labor is taking 5 hours for the production of 500 output, okay, and the quality of 500 output is best quality, so we can measure the efficiency of labor by this, that his efficiency is too high. Now suppose if another worker taking 7 hours for production of 500 commodity and his quality is not that good, then this is also the efficiency. So we can say our labor first have more efficiency than our labor 2. Okay, dear students, this is the example of efficiency. Now next is factor affecting efficiency of labor. What are those factors which affect the efficiency of our labor? Dear student, the efficiency of labor is determined by several factors. Okay, important among them are explained in the following points. The first one is racial or hereditary quality. It's totally depend upon the hereditary quality of a labor. The efficiency of a worker to some extent depend upon the racial or hereditary quality. Okay, if the parents are intelligent, hardworking, their children will normally inherit these qualities. For example, Kashmiri workers are traditionally trained in embroidery work, so that's why they are good in their embroidery work. Next is climate. Climate play an important role, dear student. Like climatic conditions also affect the efficiency of labor. Hot climate as in India reduces the working capacity of a worker. On the other hand, in the countries having cold climate, labor can work for longer duration and hence efficiency of labor will be more. Okay, dear student. Next is standard of living. Now, better standard of living makes the labor mentally and physically sound, and therefore his efficiency increase. So if a labor has a good standard of living, he has a good standard of life, he is eating, whatever he is eating is healthy, okay, he have a proper medical facility, proper sanitization facilities, availability of all the basic necessities, and he is enjoying a good standard of living, it simply means his ability to do work is too high, his efficiency is too high as compared to other person whose standard of living is low. So that's why standard of living is very important. Next is education and training. Dear student, if you talk about education and training, then if a labor is more educated and more technical in knowledge, it simply means his efficiency is too high as compared to the one who is low, who have the low knowledge, or who has undertrained, or who have no training skills. Okay, so we can say that training and education also play an important part in the efficiency of labor. Like education is generally classified into two parts: general education and technical education. General education broadens the knowledge and outlook of the labor, okay, and if you talk about the technical point of view, or a technical knowledge, then it increases the efficiency of the labor, means the labor to do specialized work. That's why we can say that technical knowledge is also important. Next is experience. Okay, beside education, experience play a very important role in the efficiency of a labor. Okay, suppose if a labor is more experience, okay, he's practicing something from 5 to 10 years, then he is more efficient as compared to the one who recently joined the industry, or who have only 2 and 3 year of experience. So your experiences is also important, play an important role in the efficiency of labor. Next is working condition. Okay, now the working condition also play an important role, dear student. Better working condition improve the efficiency of labor. If the labor works at a place where he can have fresh air, fresh drinking water, adequate light, his efficiency will be definitely more as compared to the one who is living in an unhealthy environment, unhealthy conditions. So dear student, working condition play also an important role. Next is level of wages. Okay, this is our last point because this is our 7th point. Level of wages means level of wages is determined by efficiency of a labor. Level of wages also affects efficiency. A high wage increases the worker's standard of living and hence his efficiency. If you are paying low wage to the worker, then his standard of living will not increase, and if his standard of living is not increased, then it simply means the efficiency is not increased. And if a standard of living of a labor is increased, and then it simply means he have more purchasing power, he can buy good day to day goods, and he can produce he can consume good food material, he can go for a healthy condition, he can buy all his necessities, it simply increases standard of living. And when standard of living of a labor increases, it means his efficiency also increases. Okay, dear student, now our next point is what is the causes of low efficiency of India. Now this is the next point, that what are the causes of low efficiency of in India of the labor. Okay, dear student, it has been observed that the working efficiency of Indian laborers is much lower in compared to those in developed countries like USA, UK, Japan, Canada, etc. Okay, dear student, for example, in a cotton spinning mill, an American looks after 1200 spindles, a British worker look after 600 spindles, a Japanese worker look after 240 spindles, but our Indian worker is only look after 180 spindles only. Now the question is why this is so. Okay, there are so many reasons. There are few one, like hot climate. India is a subtropical country and its climate is hot. It is the most important natural cause of low efficiency of Indian labor. Next is low wages. The wages of labor in general, we talk about general labor. If we talk about, then the wage of the general labor is too high, too low. That's why the standard of living of Indian workers is poor, okay, and they are ill treated, they are ill fed, so that's why their productivity is low as compared to the workers in the foreign countries. Next is in congenial environment. Now, in congenial environment means Indian workers have to work under very unhygienic conditions. Many factories in India have unhygienic conditions. The facilities of canteen, recreation, and relaxation are also not provided. All these have adversely affect the efficiency of Indian worker. Dear student, next is poor technology. The machines are either outdated and of poor standards. Besides, frequent breakdown of machines and electricity cause the downfall in the efficiency of Indian worker. So, poor technology. Next is migrate characteristics. Migrator characteristics means Indian worker are migrator in character. Okay, a very high proportion of worker usually come to work in factories from villages to urban area, which you can see in COVID-19 case, that people are migrating from the urban area to the rural area. They are going to back their villages. This is because all they are migrated workers which come to our cities to do work. Okay, that's why this is a category of migrator characteristics. Okay, dear student, next is education and training. It is found that the Indian workers do not have proper education and training about their work. That's why their efficiency is lower. Okay, dear student, that's it for today. Have a nice day. Stay safe. In our next video, we will discussion about division of labor. Thank you, student. Stay safe.